Hey plant nerds, welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about the Staghorn Fern, and we're gonna take this little guy and do a little DIY and hang him on a wall mount. Now, for me, ferns have been a rather difficult houseplant to own. I have killed or almost killed every fern that I own. There are multiples right now that I can show you, but I'm not going to because it's depressing. In my opinion, the Staghorn Fern is a bit hardier than the other ferns you could have in your home. So, if you were like me and you ignored a Staghorn Fern, or even the thought of buying a Staghorn Fern because you just assumed you'd kill it like all your other ferns, you probably will not, and you should buy one because they are pretty cool. I was inspired by Betsy Begonia. She's another YouTuber that I had found when I first started this whole plant journey on YouTube. If you haven't seen her videos or you're not subscribed to her, I will put a link in the description. Please do yourself a favor, go watch her videos. She's really funny and she's got a lot of knowledge. More specifically, in most of her videos, she has 3 mounted Staghorn Ferns on her wall. After I saw those, I thought, okay, I'm gonna try this. It looks so awesome. Staghorn ferns are what is considered an epiphyte, which in their natural habitat, they grow from the side of things or underneath things like trees, tree branches, maybe on a wall. That's why you see so many Staghorn ferns that are mounted on pieces of wood, hung on the walls, or even in hanging baskets, maybe upside down, because they're used to hanging that way. Staghorns have 2 different kinds of fronds. You have these fronds, which are longer and they kind of stick out, the ones that you always see, and those are called the fertile fronds. There's another type of frond that also develops on a Staghorn fern. Those are called the sterile fronds, and they're almost like a shield. You can also refer to them as a shield frond, but what they do is they kind of grow at the base of these fertile fronds. They use those sterile fronds to wrap around and secure themselves to that object. To make a mount for my Staghorn Fern today, I have some fishing line to secure it to the board. I also have some sphagnum moss, which I will use to wrap the roots of the plant. You'll need a few screws so you can wrap the fishing line around it. And lastly, and probably most importantly, you need a board or something to mount your fern to. Hey, what's up guys? I'm here from the future to let you know that my mount did not work. When I watered it, the wood split right at this knot, which I think is the reason why.
What is this? Naughty pine!
So, we're gonna have to redo this. I'm not too upset about it though, because now I can show you how to build a mount for your Staghorn from beginning to end yourself. So, I went to a local hardware store, I bought some red cedar wood. I'm gonna go outside now into the garage and get all Tim the Two-Man Taylor up in here. I'm gonna cut my boards, assemble them, and then we'll be back and I'll show you the full process of mounting the Staghorn on those boards. All right guys, so I got my boards, so I'm gonna mark them and we're gonna cut them to the size that I wanna make the mount for. Alright, so there is the plank finished. I just cut 3 of the boards and I got some 1x2s and used it in the back for support and just drilled it into the 3 planks. I think I'm gonna mount it on the wall this way up just so I can put the hardware here and it'll be hidden. The first thing I'm gonna do is just trace a general outline on where I wanna place my plant. And I'm just gonna use a screw and poke in some holes just so I know where to put my screws. So there we have the screws in place where I would like the plant to be on this mount. So the first thing you're gonna do after this is complete is you're gonna take some sphagnum moss that has been soaking in water. And you're just gonna take a small bit of that and you're gonna wring out the excess water as much as you can. And you're gonna place a small layer of that kind of flat in the middle of all of your screws, and that's gonna be your base layer. So once you have that on there, you're gonna wanna take your plant out of the pot. Since I already did this once, my plant's out of the pot. And you can see here, you get as much dirt off as possible, but you still can leave some on there. And then you kind of flatten the root ball. When it sits, it's gonna lay a little flat. And you're just gonna place your plant in the middle of all of that sphagnum moss. What you're gonna do is you're gonna take more moss, you're gonna wring out the water, and you're just gonna place that building up around the plant and the soil to cover it. Once you're satisfied with how that looks, what you're gonna do is you're gonna take some of your fishing line or your nylon string, you're gonna tie it off on one of the screws. And then what you're gonna do is you're just gonna take your string and you're just gonna weave it around all of your screws, pressing in, pulling tight to keep your sphagnum moss in place. So once you feel like you've sufficiently woven your string around the moss to secure it in place, you can go ahead and tie it off. Alright guys, here we go. Here's my first attempt at mounting a Staghorn Fern. I think it looks pretty good. I feel like I could do some improvements with some string around the top of the plant here, so I might have to make some adjustments. To care for this guy, it's pretty simple. They just like really bright indirect light, so find the brightest spot in your house you can stick a staghorn. They do not like direct sun. Also, watering these guys is pretty simple. You might have to do it with a mounted staghorn once a week, once every couple weeks. Fully soak the sphagnum moss and the bit of soil that's underneath it, and then let it dry out either in your sink or your bathtub before you hang it back on the wall and let the wood drip dry. If you guys liked this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up down below. Click that subscribe button if you have not yet to see other videos that I'm going to post. And also, just let me know what you think about Staghorn Ferns. Have you tried one? Do you have one? Have you did a mount for it? What works? What doesn't work? I'd love to hear your thoughts. And as always, I appreciate you hanging out with me. Thanks for watching.